What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news and updates. And firstly, the game's just had its first update of 2024. There are a bunch of fixes and changes in the patch that we got this week, including some unexpected adjustments to weapons. We'll touch on that, and Bungie give various updates regarding missing rewards, future content plans, and the next patch for the game. On top of that though, we got the season finale, for Season of the Wish, so we'll touch on that, as well as an upcoming secret in the Star-Crossed mission. Plus we have new info on Bungie's Game to Give initiative for the year, and there are a couple of other things to round up in the video today. So as always guys, I hope you find this one useful, and if you do, a rating below very much helps us out. But now, let's get into it. And firstly, following the patch that we had this week, Bungie have said they've implemented a fix to unlock rewards for those affected by the issue that caused the triumphs for solo flawless and master difficulty completions of Warlord's Ruin to grant incorrect rewards. And they've said they're expecting rewards to go out to affected players tomorrow, which is actually today now. So hopefully anyone who's been missing those rewards for a little while will finally get them this week. But on top of that, there were also more changes than expected in the first game update of the year. And so from the patch this week, for the Root of Nightmares, Bungie say adept weapons now drop using knockout logic, and once every drop is unlocked, the drop will become random, so that basically means we've got better chances to earn items that we don't currently own. Plus Bungie fixed a whole bunch of issues in the Warlord's Ruin dungeon. And then for the Ghosts of the Deep, they fixed an issue where players weren't awarded the weekly pinnacle reward upon master difficulty completions. Plus for the Coil, they've removed the togetherness modifier completely, and they fixed various other bugs, including a very loud sound playing when exiting the Riven vendor menu, issues with dialogue, players being removed for inactivity wrongly, and a couple of other items. But then for armor and the Peacekeepers, Bungie say they've reduced the handling, mobility, and ADS movement speed buffs by 50%. They also fixed an issue where Hexa robes weren't properly animating on female warlocks. And then for weapons and Thorn, for the Thorn Catalyst, they changed the stats from plus 20 range and 10 stability to plus 15 range, 5 stability, and 5 airborne effectiveness. So that's essentially a nerf for the Catalyst that we got earlier on this season. It is a minor change, but it isn't what I was expected to see. Give us your thoughts about it down below. They also said that Stay Frosty's muzzle flash is no longer too large and is a more appropriate size, and of course that's the Dawning Pulse rifle. They also fixed an issue where Trace rifles would have too large of a muzzle flash as well. But finally, they fixed a problem where the old flame quest for the Dragon's Breath Catalyst wouldn't progress during the seasonal activity, and strangely they reduced the drop rate of gunsmith engrams from Orokin faction chests in the Dreaming City. So kind of a mixed bag, some useful fixes, but also some unexpected and somewhat strange changes in that patch. So give us any thoughts you have on those down below. And otherwise in the game this week, we did get the season finale, or the final steps I suppose, for the main season story quest. This included us going into a mission which is essentially one of the Ascendant challenges, but without the darkness filter over it, and it at least looked pretty cool. And then, spoiler alert, but we got to go and make the 15th wish. And to be fair, the quest mission sort of just did it for us, but something fun to do while you're there if you fancy it. And O10 on Reddit shared that you can push the Techians off the map into Riven's Pond down here. And so I guess they're not magic after all. But following that, we got a cutscene where Riven grants that 15th wish, and the Crow makes his way into the Traveler. And so I suppose at least we don't have to see Crow for another 6 months. Only joking, Crow. Perhaps next time we meet, you'll have found Cade 6 in the Pale Heart, and of course that will be in the final shape. But for now, pending any additional bits that maybe happen later on in the season just to end things before final shape, that is essentially the finale. So share any thoughts you have about that. Of course, the disconnectedness given the delay for final shape certainly doesn't help it to feel more exciting. But otherwise, we got the third catalyst for the Wishkeeper bow, and this week that is Vorpal Weapon. The anomaly for this one was a bit trickier to find, and it's hidden through this crack in the rocks immediately before the deactivate the barrier encounter. And also, Bungie attempted to fix the cheese at the final boss for the Star-Crossed mission, as they've put an invisible wall over the barrier, but players have reported that you can still climb up to the ledge for the previous encounter and use the previous encounter's buff, then fire through the barrier with Wish Ender, and you can essentially still cheese the final boss, just not quite as effectively. Although for most players collecting the catalysts, we now only have one more week to worry about, so it probably isn't something that a lot of players are going to keep running beyond that. But something else worth mentioning in relation to earning the Wishkeeper catalysts is that yes, as far as we know, you can earn multiple intrinsic and catalysts from one run of the Wishkeeper Star-Crossed mission, so some players have asked about this, but of course every week the quest kicks off at Mara Sov, and a bunch of those quests don't require the Star-Crossed mission to be run until the final step, so for players who don't want to run Star-Crossed a whole bunch more times, it is possible to simply pick up the quest from Mara, complete it up to the point in which you have to run Star-Crossed, and just hold on to it. Then, once we have all of the quests completed with the exception of the Star-Crossed bit, it should be possible as far as we know to do one run of Star-Crossed and tick off all of these separate quests. So that may be useful for solo players or folks who don't want to run the mission repeatedly. But another thing related to Starcrossed itself, and there's actually a secret portal at the end of the mission, and we've been slowly building a bridge to get access to it each of the weeks that we complete Catalyst quests. So as you can see right here, in the ending section, we've got the chest. But immediately behind that, there is this sort of chasm, and slowly over time, more platforms have been appearing here that are ultimately going to allow us to cross the chasm, and as players have discovered in the past couple of weeks, on the other side, once we get over there, there's actually a portal that currently isn't active, but of course, the assumption is that this will activate on the 4th and final week running Starcrossed. So, of course, it may simply be connected to the final Catalyst upgrade, but as we've seen in previous exotic missions like this, sometimes we get Easter eggs, additional secrets, potentially even rewards. But of course, alternatively, it could give us the final intrinsic upgrade or something like that. But it's a cool element to keep tabs on as we run Starcrossed each week, and I guess, now that we've done the first 3 Catalysts, theoretically this portal and the bridge over to it should be completed next week, so we'll have to see what we find there, but it's another minor element of intrigue for the Starcrossed mission itself, I guess, so give us any thoughts or speculation you have on that down below. The final thing I wanted to mention for today though, and Bungie have launched Game to Give for 2024, and they say this year we celebrate the 5th anniversary of Game to Give and all of the good the community has enabled us to do over the years, and to commemorate the milestone we're opening the vault of emblems from past campaigns dating back to 2018, and they've introduced a new way to earn incentives. So they say they want players to donate and earn, and for every $7 donated, players can earn 1 credit to redeem incentives of their choice. And for each incentive redeemed, we'll receive a unique code to use on Bungie.net, and they point out that codes can't be sold, but can be shared with friends and family, and all redemptions are final. They're unable to replace codes redeemed to incorrect accounts, for instance. But for the rewards themselves, firstly, there is the new donation incentives. That includes the Cosmic Tune, which is an exotic sparrow, I believe there, for 3 credits, and the Universal Constant, which will require 4 credits. Plus, they've reintroduced a bunch of previous incentive emblems, so the Vault emblems will cost 1 credit each. And so in essence, you could buy any of those emblems for a $7 donation. On top of that though, there are fundraising rewards as always, and firstly, there is the Bloodstream emblem, and that's granted for anyone who sets up a fundraising account and raises $100. Then for $500, there is the Heart Control emblem, and for $777, there's the Pale Blue Dot ship and the animating Love Spawn effect. Plus, we can see much bigger incentives there for things like the Game to Give gamepad and Bungie store gifts, as well as an inclusion into a Hall of Fame poster and a Game to Give custom jersey, as well as a physical Hall of Fame poster. So some cool incentives there if anyone wants to help raise cash. And there are more details on the causes that Bungie support via Game to Give. It's worth pointing out that this is a charitable effort right here, so Bungie don't pocket all of the money, or at least we don't think they do, but instead it goes towards the charities that Bungie support. So definitely something worth checking out, and the details for it are linked down below. But for today, guys, that's what we have to speak about. We will be seeing the return of the TWID next week on Thursday, I believe, so I'll keep you posted with that. But for today, I hope you found the video useful, and if you have, a rating below very much helps us out on the channel. Also, be sure to get subscribed so I can keep you up to date with more Destiny content. But otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in, and whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.